In the dead of night, when the moon hung low in the sky and the stars shivered with dread, a lone fishing vessel named the Eternal Whisper sailed through the treacherous waters of the Bermuda Triangle. Captain Nathaniel Blackwood, a weathered and superstitious seafarer, led a crew of hardened men who had heard tales of the cursed waters they now navigated. The frigid winds whispered ancient stories of ghostly vessels, lost souls, and unspeakable horrors lurking beneath the waves. The crew had scoffed at the legends, thinking them mere sailors' superstitions. But as the Eternal Whisper ventured deeper into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, strange phenomena began to unfold. The compass spun wildly, as if possessed by malevolent spirits, and the stars vanished behind a shroud of dense fog. Captain Blackwood's unease grew with each passing moment, and he felt the weight of an unseen presence pressing down upon his soul. One night, as the crew huddled in the dimly lit mess hall, they heard an eerie, mournful melody carried on the wind. It was the spectral sound of a forlorn sea shanty echoing from nowhere and everywhere at once. The sailors exchanged terrified glances, clutching their cups of rum for solace. The next morning, they awoke to find the sea around them coated in an otherworldly mist. The fog twisted and writhed like a living creature, concealing all but a few feet of water in any direction. Captain Blackwood ordered the crew to sound the foghorn and keep a watchful eye on the horizon, but the dense mist seemed to swallow their calls and obscure their view. Days turned into weeks as the Eternal Whisper drifted aimlessly through the eerie haze. Supplies dwindled, and the crew's nerves frayed. The ship's lanterns flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced along the deck like phantoms. Each night the mournful sea shanty returned, its haunting melody a constant reminder of their dire predicament. One moonless night, as Captain Blackwood stood at the helm, he spotted a faint, ghostly light in the distance. It flickered like a distant star, beckoning the ship towards it. He couldn't resist the pull of curiosity, and with trembling hands, he ordered the crew to follow the mysterious light. As the Eternal Whisper drew nearer, the light revealed itself to be emanating from the spectral wreckage of a ship long lost to the depths. The ghastly vessel was draped in tattered sails that glowed with an eerie luminescence. Its timbers creaked and groaned as if the ship itself were in agony. The crew watched in horrified fascination as ghostly figures, pale and ethereal, drifted along the deck, their eyes hollow and mournful. Captain Blackwood's heart pounded in his chest as he realized the truth. They had stumbled upon one of the fabled ghost ships of the Bermuda Triangle. It was said that these vessels were trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead, forever cursed to wander the cursed waters, seeking to lure more souls into their spectral crew. Desperation gripped the crew as the ghostly ship drew closer, its eerie inhabitants beckoning them with spectral hands. Captain Blackwood, now a broken man, knew that they had no choice but to resist the siren call of the haunted vessel. With great effort, he turned the Eternal Whisper away from the ghost ship and prayed that they might escape the clutches of the Bermuda Triangle. The waters grew calm, and the fog lifted as suddenly as it had descended. The cursed sea had released its grip on the Eternal Whisper, and Captain Blackwood and his crew sailed out of the Bermuda Triangle, forever haunted by the memories of the ghost ship and the horrors they had witnessed. To this day, no one knows the fate of the Eternal Whisper and its ill-fated crew. Some say they were cursed to wander the seas as ghostly apparitions, forever seeking redemption for their trespass into the realm of the dead. And so the legends of the Bermuda Triangle and its ghost ships continue to haunt the minds of sailors, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie beneath the waves. In the darkest depths of the ocean, where the sun's rays dared not venture, there existed a realm shrouded in eternal night. Here among the inky black waters, a legend whispered through the salt-encrusted lips of sailors, a tale that sent shivers down the spines of even the hardiest of mariners, the legend of the ghost ships. The ghost ships were not like any ordinary vessels that plied the seas. They were the lost souls of sailors and pirates, condemned to wander the ocean's abyssal depths for all eternity. These cursed ships bore the weight of their terrible deeds and the wrath of vengeful spirits. The ocean depths became their tomb, and their eternal punishment was to roam its inky expanse, forever seeking redemption or revenge. One moonless night, a lone fishing boat named the Whispering Wind sailed into the heart of this cursed realm. Its crew, consisting of Captain Jonathan Blackthorn and a motley group of seafaring misfits, had heard the legends but dismissed them as the ramblings of superstitious old sailors. They were on a perilous quest for a treasure said to be hidden on a distant, uncharted island, and no ghost story could deter them. As they ventured deeper into the cursed waters, a heavy fog crept in, thick as death itself, and clung to the ship's timbers like icy fingers. The crew began to hear whispers on the wind, ghostly voices carried by the unnatural breeze. The men exchanged nervous glances. But Captain Blackthorn's iron will refused to waver. Then, the first sight of terror manifested. A ghostly apparition, the specter of a long-dead sailor, pale and translucent, appeared on the deck. It glared at the intruders with hollow, sunken eyes, its fingers like skeletal claws. Panic spread like wildfire among the crew, but the captain drew his sword and ordered his men to stand their ground. But this was only the beginning of their torment. As the night wore on, the Whispering Wind became surrounded by a ghostly armada, a haunting fleet of spectral vessels, their tattered sails fluttering eerily in the cursed breeze. These were the infamous ghost ships, their hulls rotted, their masts cracked and splintered, and their crews nothing more than the anguished souls of lost sailors. Captain Blackthorn realized too late that they had trespassed into a realm where mortal flesh was nothing more than a feast for the hungry ghosts. Desperate, he ordered his men to raise their sails and make a hasty escape, but the ghost ships moved with unnatural speed, pursuing them relentlessly. As the Whispering Wind raced through the night, the crew's sanity unraveled. They saw the tormented faces of long-dead sailors, heard their mournful wails, and felt the icy touch of spectral hands. Madness descended upon them, and one by one, the crew members succumbed to their fear, their minds shattered by the horrors that surrounded them. Captain Blackthorn, the last man standing, watched in despair as the ghost ships closed in. He knew there was no escape from this accursed realm. In a final act of desperation, he turned the ship toward the heart of the spectral armada, hoping to confront whatever malevolent force commanded these wraith-like vessels. The moment the Whispering Wind collided with the flagship of the ghost ships, a deafening scream echoed through the abyss. The sea itself seemed to rise in fury. Waves crashing against the spectral ships. Lightning flashed, illuminating the nightmarish tableau. In that blinding burst of light, Captain Blackthorn saw the source of the curse, a monstrous, otherworldly entity, half human, half octopus, its tentacles coiled around the cursed vessels. It was the embodiment of the ocean's wrath, a vengeful deity of the deep. With a final, thunderous roar, the deity dragged the Whispering Wind and the ghost ships into the abyssal depths, sealing their fates for all eternity. The sea swallowed them whole, leaving behind only a churning maelstrom of darkness and despair. The legend of the ghost ships lives on, a cautionary tale whispered among sailors who dare to venture into the uncharted waters. They know that the cursed realm beneath the waves is no place for the living, and the wrath of the ocean's vengeful spirits is a fate worse than death, and eternity of haunting a never-ending voyage on the ghostly ships that sail the dark, unfathomable depths of the sea. In the darkest depths of the ocean, where the sun's rays dare not penetrate, there exists a realm of terror that haunts the dreams of sailors and mariners. This is the realm of ghost ships, cursed vessels that sail the eternal sea, their tattered sails billowing in a spectral wind. These ships are a testament to the malevolent forces that lurk beneath the waves, forces that crave vengeance and eternal suffering. The legend of the ghost ships dates back centuries to a time when the oceans were uncharted and treacherous. It was said that these cursed vessels were once mighty pirate ships, bristling with cannons and manned by ruthless crews. They roamed the seas, plundering and pillaging, leaving a trail of death and destruction in their wake. But their insatiable greed and cruelty eventually led them to their doom. One fateful night, during a violent storm, the pirate ships encountered a mysterious fog that seemed to swallow them whole. When the fog lifted, the ships found themselves in a strange and desolate world, a realm between the living and the dead. The crew members were transformed into ghastly apparitions, their bodies decaying and their souls trapped for all eternity. These ghostly pirates became cursed to roam the seas forever, seeking redemption for their wicked deeds. They yearned for the release of death, but were denied it, condemned to sail the cursed vessels that had once been their pride. These ships, now wreathed in an eerie greenish light, became known as the Phantom Fleet. The Phantom Fleet haunted the oceans, appearing suddenly and without warning. Their skeletal crews would emerge from the fog, their eyes glowing with malevolence, and board unsuspecting vessels. They would attack with a ferocity that defied their ghostly forms, slashing and stabbing with ghostly cutlasses that could cut through flesh and bone. Sailors who encountered the Phantom Fleet spoke of their terrifying encounters in hushed tones. They told of how the ghostly pirates would drag their victims below decks, where they would be subjected to unspeakable tortures that transcended the boundaries of life and death. The souls of those unfortunate enough to be captured by the Phantom Fleet would be forever trapped in a nightmarish purgatory, tormented by the vengeful spirits of the pirate crew. The legend of the Phantom Fleet spread far and wide, and sailors began to fear the open ocean like never before. Tales of ghostly ships that appeared out of nowhere and left no survivors became a chilling cautionary tale, a warning of the horrors that awaited those who dared to venture too far from land. But there were those who were drawn to the mystery of the Phantom Fleet, who believed that there might be a way to break the curse and free the trapped souls. These brave souls embarked on perilous journeys to locate the elusive ships, armed with ancient tomes of forbidden knowledge and relics of unimaginable power. The battles that ensued were epic, with the living fighting against the dead, their very souls hanging in the balance. The clash of swords and the roar of cannons echoed through the ghostly fog as the fate of the cursed pirates and their spectral ships hung in the balance. Some say that a few of these brave adventurers succeeded in breaking the curse, freeing the trapped souls, and allowing them to find peace at last. But the legend of the Phantom Fleet endures, a reminder of the darkness that dwells beneath the waves, a darkness that can never truly be vanquished. And so the next time you find yourself on a moonless night at sea, and the fog rolls in, and the wind carries with it an eerie chill, be wary of what may lurk in the mist. For the ghost ships are real, and their thirst for revenge is unquenchable. They are the eternal terrors of the ocean, the cursed vessels that sail the endless sea, a testament to the horrors that await those who dare to tread too close to the abyss. In the quiet coastal town of Harborville, nestled between craggy cliffs and rolling hills, lived an old sea captain named Captain Harrison. His wrinkled face told tales of a lifetime spent at sea, and his eyes sparkled with the wisdom of countless voyages. Captain Harrison's most treasured possession was an antique spyglass that had belonged to his grandfather, a legendary sailor in his own right. This spyglass had seen the world, gazing upon distant lands and guiding the way through stormy nights. It was a symbol of the enduring maritime legacy that ran through the Harrison family. As the sun dipped below the horizon each evening, the townsfolk would gather at the small harbor where Captain Harrison would regale them with stories of his seafaring adventures. His voice, gravelly from years of salty air, spun tales of ghost ships, hidden treasures, and encounters with majestic whales. He spoke of the camaraderie among sailors, the thrill of discovery, and the solemnity of storms. One brisk autumn evening, Captain Harrison shared a story that brought tears to the eyes of all who listened. It was about the first time he had ever captained his own ship, the Golden Gull. The vessel, though small, was his pride and joy. He recounted how they had battled fierce waves and a relentless tempest for days on end, until finally they spotted a distant lighthouse, a beacon of hope cutting through the darkness. As he told the story, Captain Harrison held his grandfather's spyglass in his trembling hands, as if channeling the strength of his forebears. The townsfolk leaned in, captivated by his every word, feeling the salt spray on their faces and the wind in their hair. "Remember, my dear friends," Captain Harrison said with a glint in his eye, "ships are more than just wood and iron, they carry the dreams of those who sail them. They are a testament to human resilience and our unquenchable thirst for adventure. As long as there are ships on the sea, there will always be stories to tell." With those words, Captain Harrison raised the spyglass to his eye, scanned the horizon and smiled, knowing that the legacy of the sea would endure, passed down through the generations, just as his grandfather had passed on the cherished spyglass. And so in Harborville, the stories of ships and sailors lived on, carried by the wind and the waves, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who ventured into the vast and mysterious ocean, seeking both adventure and a place to call home.